Hello, welcome to LoLo Tarot. I'm so grateful that you are here joining me today. This pick a card reading is going to be on how would a tarot reader describe you, and we're actually going to have 4 groups today. The first group is going to be the 4 of Cups. The second group is the 9 of Wands. The third group is the Fool, and the fourth group is the Moon. You can pause this if you need to select your group. And yes, you can pick multiple groups if that's what you feel called to do. And I just want to let you know that all information that you need for booking a personal reading, my social media, everything will be down below. And please hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I pop out. Without further ado, we're going to be getting into our groups, and I will see you in your group. If you selected the 4 of Cups, then you are part of group number 1. Welcome in. Let's see. How a tarot reader would describe you is someone who easily gets bored. This could be easily getting bored of jobs, hobbies, connections, whatever it may be for you. I feel like you become very discontent and unfulfilled with your circumstances. And it's maybe like you are always trying to do something new and explore new options in a way. But I also feel like you kind of misperceive your peace for boredom. And that might be because you grew up in a chaotic environment or like unpredictable circumstances. But just know that like a lot of people misperceive peace for boredom all the time. But yeah, I just feel like you're kind of discontent with certain circumstances in your life and kind of wanting more in a way is the best way that I would describe this energy. Let's tap into your energy. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 1? We have the Knight of Cups, the 8 of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, the King of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. Bottom of the deck, the World. So, how a tarot reader would describe you is this very charming energy. You're very persuasive. You know how to use your words. You're very good at articulating yourself. But you're also like this hopeless romantic energy. I feel like you just love, and you're a lover at heart. But that's definitely how a tarot reader would describe you, as someone who's like very charming. And it's kind of like you know how to get your way. It's not like you're manipulative. You're just very clear and to the point, and you know how to communicate things. With the 8 of Pentacles, how a tarot reader would describe you is a hard worker. Like, your work ethic is crazy. And I feel like you really put in the internal work and the physical work. And ultimately, I feel like you're very determined and you persevere. Even if you don't see the results of your work right away, you definitely continue to persevere towards your goals and creating these opportunities for yourself. I feel like you're very diligent, and I don't think you do things half-assed. You're someone who puts your like 110% into everything that you do, and so that's why things flourish for you, is because you put so much effort and love and passion into what you do. With the Queen of Wands, how a tarot reader would describe you is that you definitely have some fire energy within yourself. This is a little bit feisty, very passionate. You're standing in your power. You know your self-worth. You know what you're going after. There's a black cat, which has to do with intuition. And I feel like you're definitely in this leadership position. Like, people trust you to be a leader and to guide them on the right path. I also feel like you indulge in what you're passionate about and what fuels your creativity. So if you're not really passionate about something, it's not going to feel worthwhile to you. But yeah, I feel like you definitely allow your creativity and inspiration to guide you to where you're meant to be investing your time. With the King of Swords, this is air energy. How a tarot reader would describe you, again, as someone who has self-worth. You speak up. You speak up for yourself. You speak up for others. You stand up for what's right. And I feel like you call people out on their bullshit, and you are quick to cut shit off. You're not here for the BS. You're really not. There's also an owl, which has to do with intuition. So you're very intuitive. There's also a raven, which has to do with mysticism. So you're very mystical. And there's a dragonfly, which has to do with transformation and change. So I feel like in situations where things are not changing and things are not evolving at the speed that you are evolving, you are quick to cut that off and detach yourself from this, to know like what is meant for you and what is not meant for you, and what is serving your highest good and what is not serving your highest good. I feel like you come up as a very kind of detached energy, but it's because you're intellectual. You're intellectual, and I feel like you intellectualize things and like understand the whole scenario from all point of views. And so people might think you're a little bit cold, but it's because you know what the fuck's going on. With the Ace of Swords, how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who's very, like I said, knowledgeable, intelligent. Like you gain the clarity that you need. You gain epiphanies. You have this awareness that not a lot of people have. And I feel like you have a very strong connection to the divine, to God, to source, whatever you want to call it. That's what gives you the truth of the matter. And I feel like you're very much standing in your truth and not budging for other people, because everyone has their own truth and nobody can tell you that your truth is not your truth, you know? And I feel like you also, it's like you shine through adversity. Like no matter what, you make it through everything that comes across your path. Let's get some clarifying cards on this. But with the World on the bottom, you're described as someone who closes out cycles. Like you know when to close something out and when something's just being destructive for you. Let's get some clarifying cards. How else would a tarot reader describe pile number 1? One more card. The King of Cups, Two of Swords, Ten of Cups reverse, Strength, and the Eight of Swords. Yeah. So how a tarot reader would describe you with the King of Cups, this is water energy. Not only are you like this charming energy, like I said, you are not manipulative about this. You're just very persuasive. But the fact of the matter is that you are emotionally aware and you are emotionally vulnerable, and like you're really in tune with your emotions. So it's not like you're just doing this to like manipulate people. It's because you actually genuinely are a compassionate and empathetic person. But there's a starfish on here, which reminds me like you probably have a very hard exterior, but the people who you love and care about get to see the ooey gooey side of you, the soft side of you. And so yeah, I feel like how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who's very in tune with their emotions, which allows you to be this very intuitive energy. And I feel like you understand that vulnerability is your greatest strength, and so you don't find shame in being vulnerable. With the Two of Swords, like I said before, with the Eight of Pentacles about how you work, even if you don't see the immediate results, look, she's literally blind. Like, you continue to put in the effort. I have chills right now, and you continue to go after what it is that you desire to go after, no matter what your current circumstance looks like. You don't allow the current circumstance to determine how much work you put in. Even if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you continue to push forward knowing that you're going in the right direction. And I feel like you're also very decisive. Even when you're blind and you don't know what you're supposed to do, your intuition always guides you to do the right thing. And so that's how a tarot reader would describe you, is that like you allow your intuition to guide you on the right path, and you don't need anything externally to tell you where to go. Your soul will guide you. With the 10 of Cups reversed below the Queen of Wands, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who has created their own safe space for them to be vulnerable. It's like you stopped looking to find the safe space in other people, and you created this safe space for yourself. You don't need a partner to be happy. You don't need a partner to be fulfilled. You don't need a partner to be complete, because you are complete on your own. You are whole and complete, and there's nobody who can complete you the way that you do. And so that's how a tarot reader would describe you, as someone who has found this emotional fulfillment without the company of others. You're not dependent on other people. You depend on yourself. You rely on yourself, because you will always be there. And as long as you don't abandon yourself, nobody else can abandon you. I'm really digging this energy. The next card we have is Strength. So, like I said before with the King of Swords, like, you see the situation. You definitely are a lot more intelligent than you let on. Maybe people don't assume that you're intelligent, but you are, and you've gained the strength from your past experiences, and you've learned from those past experiences. And so I feel like you have this pattern recognition when you can recognize that something's about to start replaying out like you already have gone through in the past. And they would also describe you as someone who's just built this resilience, this emotional resilience, physical resilience, spiritual resilience, mental resilience. Like, you just have a huge capacity for what you can handle on your plate. And I feel like that's what makes you stand out in a way, is like this strength that you have built for yourself. Like, most people couldn't walk a day in your shoes. Even if they had your body, even if they had your knowledge, even if they had everything that you have, they could not do what you do. And that's just the fact of the matter. And she also has this heart around her neck. So I feel like even though you might have had like disturbing experiences in the past, you're still complete and whole. Like I said before, it's kind of what I'm getting from this. With the 8 of Swords below the Ace of Swords, I feel like how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who gains the truth to set themselves free. I feel like you might get trapped in situations sometimes, but at some point you recognize the truth of the matter, and then you set yourself free. You don't let anything hold you down. You don't let anything keep you captive. You don't let anything entrap you, because you know that the truth will always be revealed to you. Wow, that's powerful. Let's look at the bottom of the deck. Temperance. Yeah, how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who creates balance. This balance between your light and your dark. You stay tempered. You don't let people make you step out of character. You don't give people the reactions that they're looking for. And you're also very fucking patient in allowing the universe to bring you what you deserve. Let's get some clarifying cards with my homemade deck. How would a tarot reader describe you? We have jealous, resentful, envious on the top, popular, loner, protective of your energy, inner peace. So you have a lot of people who are jealous, resentful, and envious of you, and it's because you're a popular loner. Like I said, you don't need other people to thrive. You're very protective over your energy, and you've prioritized your inner peace over everything. And so that's what makes people so jealous, is that they aren't comfortable being alone. And they can't understand how you're so comfortable being alone. Wow. Humanitarian, selfless, restoring faith and hope. And that's the truth of the matter, is that you're this humanitarian energy. Like, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping other people, and you truly do care about others, like wellness, and you're selfless, and you're restoring faith and hope in like humanity, literally. On the top, irritable, snappy, and bitchy. And that's why people get irritable and they're snappy and they're bitchy, is because they literally could not imagine like being you in the position that you have and having so much compassion and empathy for other people. They just literally can't imagine dark feminine / masculine, mysterious and seductive, magnetizing. Yeah, so you're definitely in your dark feminine or masculine energy, and you give off this very mysterious and seductive energy to people. Like, it's magnetizing and it's very intriguing, and people just want to know more about you and how much like you've experienced in the past and what's made you the person that you are. On the top, genuine, kind heart, loving presence. And that's just the truth, is that you are genuine, you have a very kind heart, and you have this very loving presence, and it makes people feel safe. People feel safe around you, and they relate to you, and they feel like you aren't going to judge them. We got 2 cards. Intimidation, capable of great achievement, put on a pedestal, and you're just intimidating to other people because they know that you're going to achieve so much in this life, and people put you up on a pedestal. And then we have inspiration, triggering growth, way shower, and you are an inspiration to so many people. You trigger growth within people, so people might project that onto you, but it's not your fault that you trigger people. It's for their growth, and you are the way shower. You are showing the way. You're this leadership position. On the top, foolish, impulsive, and reckless, and people feel foolish and reckless because they were impulsive in the past and didn't really understand the depths of your character. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading, and all information that you need will be down below. I will see you next time. If you selected the 9 of Wands, then this is your reading, pile number 2. Welcome in. First and foremost, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who's a little guarded, defensive, and traumatized. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just because you've endured so much. This could be childhood trauma. This could be traumatic relationships. This could be addictions. Whatever it so be, you have endured a lot of suffering. But at the end of the day, you have conquered the suffering. You've made it through everything that you thought you couldn't. And so that's how a tarot reader would describe you, as someone who's gained the strength through the trials and tribulations I've chose right now to literally make it through anything that comes across your path. Like, you continue to take steps in the right direction is what I'm getting. So let's tap into your energy and see how else a tarot reader would describe you. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 2? We have the Empress, the 10 of Cups, the King of Wands, which came out in... Did it come out in the last group? I don't think so. Okay. On the bottom of the deck, the Ace of Cups. Okay, so Empress, 10 of Cups, King of Wands, 6 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles. Double sixes here. So first off, with the Empress, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who's indulging in their feminine energy. This is divine feminine, which is all 4 queens. So you are the full fucking package. Literally, the full fucking package. You don't chase, you attract. So you're very magnetic in attracting the things that you need to go after what it is that you are going after. So you could attract opportunities, you can attract connections, you can attract, anything that you need to flourish. But also, you're very good at nurturing. Like, this energy is the energy as if, like, you get a plant, right? And in order for that plant to flourish, you need to take care of it. You need to nurture it. You need to love it, right? And so that's what you do, is you take care of the things that you love and care about so they can flourish even more. Like, you maintain the things that you gain. And so that's this energy of you, like, birthing creations into being. Like, you're very tapped into your creativity right now and just kind of living this softer lifestyle, if that makes sense. You see, she's just, like, indulging in her essence. Like, she is a goddess. Like, you are really embodying, like, goddess energy. And, like, knowing your worth. Like, not settling for less. With the Ten of Cups, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who definitely has a lot of emotional fulfillment. This card came out in the last reading, but it was in reverse. I feel like you definitely have the support that you need around you. Whether this is friends, family, or like adopted family, like people that you just call family because you're that close to them. I feel like you really indulge in your connections and you have this vulnerability with them. There's also kids on here, so I feel like these connections in your life allow you to feel safe in your inner child energy and to just be your true authentic self without like putting on a front or putting on a mask or having a fear of judgment. But I also feel like you're also a really good friend and a good companion, and you give people this safe space. Like, you are a safe space for a lot of people. The next card we have is the King of Wands, which is fire energy. So you're definitely described as someone who follows their passion. There's a torch in his hand, so you are the torch bearer. Like, you are guiding people on the path. You might be the first person to do something. Maybe you're the first person to take the creative route, or you're the first person to use a specific path, like in your family, in your lineage, whatever it so be. But you really are being that leader and really guiding people on that right path. And I also feel like with the lion on here, you're a very feisty energy, very fiery, and you're really empowered from within. And I just feel like you've turned your pain into power is kind of what I'm getting from this energy. The next card we have is the Six of Wands, and if you see, they're holding the same torch. So with the Six of Wands, it's like you're up on your high horse, you're recognized, you are adored. Like, you are definitely succeeding in whatever this creative endeavor is, whatever you're passionate about. Like, you are on center stage and people are like hyping you up, putting you up on that pedestal. Like, you are showing up and you are showing out, and it's because you've gone through so much already and you deserve all the success that is coming towards you. And I honestly feel like the worst part of your life has already passed. I feel like the beginning of your life was a little bit rough, but now you are in this new era. With the Six of Pentacles, how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who's very generous. You're generous, you're kind, you're very compassionate. I feel like you're generous with your time, your money, your energy, your love, your knowledge, literally everything. You're generous with everything. You're definitely a giver, and that's why it's important for you to have boundaries, because takers have no limits, and you need to create boundaries for them to have a limit, you know? But yeah, I just feel like a lot of people aren't used to having generous people who are just generous from pure intentions. You're not being generous for like greedy intentions or deceitful intentions. It's because you truly do care. With Judgment below the Empress, I feel like you have released yourself from judgment. It's like you recognize that the reason why you feared the judgment of others was because you were silently judging yourself and other people. And I feel like you're also waking up to your power and your value and what you have to bring to the table. I feel like you're no longer giving the power to other people to decide what your worth is. And so that's really powerful, honestly. With the Knight of Cups below the Ten of Cups, how you are being described as someone who is very good with their words. You're very good at communicating how you feel. I also feel like you're a very dreamy energy, imaginative, creative. But I also feel like this is this supportive energy that you have for people. And that's why people feel so safe around you, is because they know that you are coming from a good place and from a good heart, and that you have good intentions for them. And it's like they know that you aren't going to judge them because you're kind of vulnerable as well. And I feel like your vulnerability is what helps people to open up and feel safe to be vulnerable around you. But I also feel like you're a lover at heart. This could be like you being like a hopeless romantic, but this could also be you indulging in like platonic love, because love isn't just like one-dimensional. And these cards came out in group number 1, so you might resonate with that. If you feel called to go there, then go there. We have the Two of Swords. So how you're being described is like someone who allows their inspiration and creativity to guide them on the right path. I feel like you don't need the external validation. You don't need the external circumstances to validate where you are meant to go. You allow the feelings that you have to guide you to where you need to go. If you don't feel passionate about a certain circumstance, then you know that that's not meant for you right now. And so I feel like you allow your internal soul and energy to guide you on the right path and to follow your intuition instead of needing the external validation to validate that you're doing the right thing. You know that you're doing the right thing by how it makes you feel. The next card we have is the Wheel of Fortune. So like I said earlier, I feel like you've endured the worst part already. Your life is now in a new chapter, a new karmic cycle. Like, you have turned your life around. You might have had a really rough past, but it's all paying off now. And I feel like you're in this very abundant era. You're in your receiving era. So be open to receiving, because with the dice on her neck, you've taken the risks. You've gambled on yourself. And I feel like it's really paying off, or will pay off for you if it hasn't already. The next card we have is the Devil. This is below the Six of Pentacles. So how a tarot reader would describe you is somebody who has a lot of people who try to leech off of you. Whether this is energy vampires or people who are codependent off of you, unhealed people, broken people. And the reason why you attract these people is because you're so generous. And they want to take advantage of that. And I feel like you have come to this awareness that you attract these kind of people. And so you've given yourself permission to create boundaries or stand up for yourself or distance yourself from these energies that try to leech off of you. You know when you're being drained and depleted by something. I feel like a lot of people have obsessions with you and they just feel very attached to you. On the bottom of the deck, the Four of Pentacles, and that's why it's so important that you be stingy with your energy sometimes, and you do hold back, and you do stay in this exclusive energy, because not everybody deserves to have your generosity. Not everyone deserves to have your love. And so, yeah, I feel like you definitely hold back. You don't just allow anyone access. Six of Cups, yeah. You're this very familiar energy for people. They feel very nostalgic about you. They feel like they've met you before, but ultimately you're very patient and balanced within yourself, and you never step out of character. Let's get some clarifying cards with my homemade deck. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 2? We have sadistic, finds pleasure in the suffering of others, manipulation using fear on the top, arrogant, no accountability, cocky. I think this is picking up on the Devil energy that we were just talking about. I feel like you attract a lot of sadistic people who find pleasure in the suffering of other people, and they manipulate others using fear, and they're very arrogant, and they take no accountability, and they're very cocky. And I feel like that's why you've figured out your worth, is because you were surrounded by shitty fucking people. And I feel like you recognize that has nothing to do with you. They're just shitty people. Wow. And I think they were kind of projecting that energy onto you, which made you feel bad about yourself and made you question yourself. Goal-oriented, dreamer, devotion. Yeah, you're definitely goal-oriented. You are a dreamer, and you are like devoted to your cause, devoted to yourself, to spirit, to your goals. You're definitely devoted, and you continue to persevere no matter what. On the top, we have foolish, impulsive, and reckless. And I feel like people assume that you're kind of foolish and impulsive and reckless, but really you have goals that you're going after, and you are a dreamer, and you being a dreamer is what helps you to succeed, and you devote yourself to the cause. So it's not like you're allowing things to be unfinished. You actually finish what you say you're going to finish, and you do what you say you're going to do. So people can misperceive it however they want to misperceive it. Spiritual army, divine protection, support, and guidance, karma, return to rightful owner. Yeah, that's the fact of the matter, is that you have a spiritual army that is protecting you. I have chills right now. And they are supporting you and guiding you on your path, and you have everything that you need. You have the solutions to all your problems, so you will always find a way. I literally have chills right now. Karma is always returned to its rightful owner, so the people who fuck around and want to find out, they surely fuck around to find out. And you don't even have to do a single thing for them to do that. You know, your spirit team is watching, and they're very protective over you because you deserve everything that's coming for you. On the top, honorable, ethical, and dependable. And it's because you're honorable. You are respected because of the decisions that you decide to make, and you are ethical and you are dependable. Like, you don't do malicious shit. And so for people who want to come in and be malicious, they fuck around and find out. Fire energy, passionate and creative, feisty, like I said before, with this King of Wands. You're this very fire energy, like feisty, passionate, creative, inspirational, and that's what you thrive in, is that fire energy. On the top, irritable, snappy, and bitchy. And people might think you're a little irritable, snappy, and bitchy, but it's just because you're feisty. You're feisty. Introvert, enjoys own company, reflective, manipulative, abusive power, always gets their way, stagnant, resistant to growth, refusing change. I feel like you're a very introverted energy. You enjoy your own company, and you're very reflective, and that's where you get the most knowledge, is when you're by yourself. You might be someone who works better alone. And these manipulative people who abuse their power and they always get their way, try to come in and mess with you, but they're not used to people who enjoy their own company. So you just keep to yourself. And it's because these people are stagnant, they're resistant to grow, and they refuse to change. And so they don't deserve to be around you. And so they're kind of shocked when you go into that introverted energy, because they just think that you're going to keep coming around them when you don't really want to be around them in the first place. Let's get one more card. Strong voice, motivational speaker, voice to lead millions. So you definitely have a strong voice, and you might be a motivational speaker. You just motivate people, hype them up. And you have a voice that could lead millions, literally. On the top, gullible, naive, and foolish. And people might think that you were gullible, naive, or foolish before, but you literally could lead millions, and they couldn't do what you do, so it's okay. Thank you so much for joining me in this reading. All information that you need will be linked down below, and I will see you next time. If you selected the Fool, then this is your reading pile number 3. Let's get into this. So, how a tarot reader would describe you is this very youthful energy, and you have this innocence about you. I feel like you're very adventurous, spontaneous, open-minded. You like to try new things. I feel like you don't limit yourself to what you can explore and try. It's ultimately like this very spontaneous energy, like you're on your own path, and I don't feel like you're allowing other people to guide you on this path. You're just doing what feels authentic to you and what feels best for you. And you're definitely someone who likes to take risks. Like, you will take those leaps of faith into the unknown, understanding that the universe will catch you. So let's tap into this energy of yours. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 3? 7 of Swords, we have the 7 of Swords, Judgment, which came in pile number 2, so you might resonate with that one. The 7 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, and the Hermit. Bottom of the deck, the Five of Swords. So, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who is very strategic. You are someone who thinks before you do. You're not someone who just does things for no reason. Like, you plan things out. You speak intentionally. You act intentionally. Like, there's a reason for the things that you do. There's a purpose behind everything you say and do. And so people might think you're a little sly in a way, but it's just the fact that you think things through. You don't just do things to do things. You don't do things with no purpose. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of like ravens on here, which has to do with like mysticism. So you're definitely this like mystic energy. You're definitely tapped into the power within yourself. But yeah, people find you like a little bit mysterious in a way. Kind of like unpredictable. They don't know what's next, if that makes sense. The next card we have is Judgment. So you're definitely someone who's released yourself from judgment, and like you no longer judge or shame yourself, which allows you not to judge or shame other people. And so I think you definitely indulge in like this free-spirited energy of yours and this open-minded energy, which makes people feel safe around you because they know that they're not going to be judged by you. They know that you don't have any judgment and no shame, and people can basically come to you with anything and they know that you're not going to judge them about it. And it's because you're so open-minded. Like, you're not closed-minded. You don't just think it's one way or the other, you know that things are just things, things are the way that they are. There's no reason to really stress about that. But yeah, I feel like you've really found this power within yourself, and I feel like you've had this wake-up call. Maybe this was a spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it. There was some kind of wake-up call within your life, which has allowed you to embody this adventurous energy and this open-minded energy. With the Seven of Wands, how you're being described is someone who definitely has a lot of boundaries. Like, your boundaries are strong, and as you should, like, you are definitely protective of your peace, your sanity, your mental health. You're just very protective of yourself. And you stand up for your morals, your values, your beliefs. And if people's morals and values do not line up with yours, no problem. You just don't belong in my life. Continuing on with the Seven of Wands, I feel like you're just highly protective of your energy, your health, and just doing what's best for you. And you do not back down for anyone. Like, you do not compromise your morals, your values, and your beliefs for anyone. The next card we have is the Four of Wands. So how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who's definitely created this stability and security within your life. I feel like you have a lot to be celebrating, but I also feel like you've built the stable foundation for your friendships, your relationships. And this like foundation is of honor, respect, honesty, that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's why you have so much security in your life, is because everything is based on the respectful thing to do. But I also see this as you kind of being like the life of the party. Like, your energy is irreplaceable. Your energy is unforgettable. And I also feel like you're just this very supportive energy overall. The next card we have is the Hermit. So how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who enjoys their own solitude. You're someone who enjoys your own company. And I feel like you work better alone. So if you need to go away and have no distractions for you to really tap into your creativity, inspiration, and passion, then that's what you're going to do. I feel like from your solitude is where you receive the most knowledge, wisdom, enlightenment, empowerment. It's like you hide away from the opinions of others so you can truly figure out where you are meant to go and what's meant for you, and not just doing what other people want you to do, and not allowing other people's perspective to change yours. The next card we have is the Four of Cups. So how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who becomes a little bit discontent and bored in certain circumstances. I feel like there are offers that come to you that other people would easily take, but I feel like you know the truth of the matter, and so you dodge a lot of bullets, if that makes sense. People might think you're a little sly or sneaky, a little avoidant, but really you just find a way out because you're not going to waste your time on things that you know aren't meant for you and things that aren't going to fulfill you. I feel like you're no longer wasting your time on meaningless shit, is what I'm getting. And so you kind of ignore certain things that other people would not ignore. And I feel like it's because of the self-worth that you have and like you understanding yourself and knowing yourself from the inside out. Like you know what's worth your time and what isn't. And so I feel like that's why people feel like you're so unpredictable, is because they assume you're going to act a certain way or you're going to receive something a certain way, but you act a different way. Like people cannot predict your actions. The next card we have is the Three of Cups. So how a tarot reader would describe you is this very supportive energy. I feel like you're like the support system for a lot of people. A lot of people rely on you. People want to be around you. People want to associate with you. People literally just want to be connected to you. And I feel like the reason for this is because you aren't judgmental. You are open-minded. And so people know that they can come to you with anything and you're not going to judge them. You're not going to judge them one bit. Because who are you to judge them? You know? And I feel like that's why people relate to you so much, and that's why people connect to you so much, is because they know that you're going to be respectful. I just feel like a lot of people look up to you, and I feel like you are the glue that holds things together. Without you, there wouldn't be a friend group. Without you, it wouldn't be a family. Without you, it wouldn't be a party. Without you, it wouldn't be a community. I feel like you're very community oriented. You do a lot for your people. You support the people that you love and care about, like so much. So much. The next card we have is the Six of Cups. So the reason why you have such strong boundaries and you protect yourself so much is because people hold on to your energy. When people meet you, it seems like they've met you before. And so you're this very familiar energy, very nostalgic. And even when you leave people's lives, they still hold on to you. They still cherish the memories that you had together. They still cherish the love that you gave them. And I feel like these might be people who didn't want to acknowledge that in the present moment. And then they want to acknowledge like how truly valuable you were afterwards. People, I feel like you're very loyal energy. And so that's why you protect yourself, is because you can't be loyal to people who are not loyal to you. That's being destructive. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like that's why you have so many boundaries and you have to protect yourself so much. It's because you are loyal to a fault. And you know that. And so you really have to be careful of who you are loyal to and who you have ties to. With the King of Cups, water energy, someone who's in tune with their emotions, emotionally vulnerable. I feel like you're just really standing in your emotions, and it's like, you know that vulnerability is your greatest strength. And I feel like you're someone who's been called sensitive before, but you're standing in that sensitivity and knowing that that is not a flaw. Like, it is better to be sensitive than it is to be numb and inconsiderate. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you're just this very compassionate energy. You have pure intentions with everything you do. With the starfish here, I feel like only the people who are closest to you truly get to see your vulnerability. Nobody else gets to see that side of you. Like, yes, you show that you're compassionate and you're kind, but you don't let people play with your emotions, because I feel like that's something in the past that has happened to you. But yeah, you're ultimately this very intuitive energy. Like, you're very tapped into your emotions, which allows you to be very tapped into your intuition. And that's also the stable foundation that your Four of Wands is on, is that you have pure intentions with everything. The next card we have is the King of Wands, which came out in the last group. And so, like I said before, you're somebody who works better alone. So that's why you isolate yourself, to find that inspiration and that creativity to where you need to be that leader. Because you are the leader. You don't have anyone to follow. And so you might as well go internally and figure out how you are meant to lead, and where you are meant to go, and where you're meant to invest your time, energy, and your money, and your love, etc. So like I said before, I feel like you really find your true power when you're alone, in your solitude. And also, you being alone allows you to find that self-worth and to stand in that power and not budge for anyone. And you don't allow the opinions of others to guide you on the wrong path. You allow your intuition and your soul to guide you on the right path. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Sun. So how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who has this warm energy that people can't find anywhere else. People's inner child feels safe to be around you. You literally are like the life of the party. Like I said, you are the glue that holds things together. You are the light at the end of the tunnel. You are shining, 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 yeah. And the star behind it, literally, you are a star. Like, you are going after your aspirations, your dreams, everything. Like, you are not limiting yourself. Eight of Swords. Yeah, I feel like in the past, you were, like, allowing your fears to hold you captive, but now you're really just focusing on minding your business with the Queen of Pentacles and nurturing yourself and your investments. Let's clarify this out with my homemade deck. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 3? Generous, ride or die, considerate, yeah. You are this very generous person, and you are a ride or die. Like I said, you're very supportive. You're the glue that holds shit together. Without you, it wouldn't be anything. Like, you ride for your people. You are very supportive, and you are very considerate. Like, you consider other people's feelings, how people are going to react. Like, you don't just do things without thinking things through. That's that Seven of Swords energy. You being strategic, you being like, making sure that you say what you mean and that you do what you mean. On the top, we have bold, don't give a fuck mentality, confidence. Yeah, you're definitely a bold energy. You don't give a fuck. That's the best way to be, honestly. And you're just very confident in yourself. Constantly evolving, new year, new me, different every time people see you. Yeah, you're literally constantly evolving. People cannot keep up with you, and you embody new year, new me. Like, every time people see you, you're a new person. You're a new version of you. Like, you are continuing, I don't know why I'm stuttering right now, constantly growing. We have a star. It gives hope and restoration, a guiding light. Yeah, you are a star, and you give hope and restoration to others. You show the way. Like, you are the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I said, on the top, famous, boss energy, influential. Like, you are someone who has the skills and abilities and the energy to be famous. You have this boss energy. You're very influential, and so just know that you have an impact on people. Obsessive, clingy, controlling. Yeah, and that's why you attract a lot of obsessive, clingy, and controlling people, and that's why you're comfortable being alone, is because sometimes you need to hide away from these people. Sometimes you just need to go away. Go away and isolate yourself from people who are just clinging on to you and trying to control you. On the top, in your element, glow up, prime time. Yeah, you're in your element right now. You've had a glow up, and you're in your prime time, so definitely enjoy this. Can't fuck with me when I'm in my element. That's Flo Milli. Element. Yeah, I think that's the name of the song. Spiritual army, divine protection, support, and guidance. This was in the last group. Karma returned to rightful owner. So yeah, you definitely have a spiritual army that's watching over you, and so that's why everything works out for you, is because it's meant to. 12-12 on the timer. and you're divinely protected, supported, and guided. So there's solutions to all your problems, and karma is always returned back to its rightful owner. So if you need to isolate yourself so you get your good karma and people can receive their bad karma, then you do. On the top, fire energy, passionate, creative, and feisty. So yeah, you're this very feisty energy, passionate, and creative. Let's get one more card. I'm feeling one more. Sadistic, finds pleasure in the suffering of others, manipulation using power, athletic, fit, healthy. Yeah, I feel like you're this athletic, fit, and healthy energy, and I feel like the reason why you are giving hope and restoration to others is because you show people that they don't need to be this sadistic energy, that they don't need to find pleasure in the suffering of others, that they don't need to manipulate others using fear, because you show the opposite. You show people that you could just be a guiding light by showing them the way instead of trying to manipulate people and abusing your power, you know? But thank you so much for joining me in this reading, and all information that you need will be down below, and I will see you next time. If you selected the moon, then this is your reading pile number 4. Welcome in. Let's get into this energy. So, how a tarot reader would describe you is this very mysterious energy. I feel like you work a lot behind the scenes and work a lot in silence, so people don't really know what to expect from you. I also feel like you're very intriguing, which makes people want to dig more. They want to know more about you just because you are kind of this mysterious energy and you don't really let people in on everything in your life, if that makes sense. I hope you're picking up on the vibes that I'm picking up on. But I also feel like you're tapped into your shadow energy. Like, you don't fear your shadow energy, you have it under control. And so sometimes you do let that shadow energy pop off if you need to protect your light side. I hope you're catching on to what I'm saying. But let's tap into this energy. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 4? We have the Two of Swords, the Queen of Wands reversed, the Two of Cups, the Two of Wands, and the Moon. Double confirmation with the Moon. Kind of want to know what this Queen of Wands in reverse is. Okay. So, with the Two of Swords here, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who's pretty decisive. Even when you have a stalemate and you just don't know what you're meant to do, I feel like you make a decision and you stand behind that. I also feel like you have a strong intuition that guides you on the right path to show you the way. There's ravens on here, which has to do with like mysticism and, you know, magic. So I feel like you might be someone who dabbles in magic in a way. But yeah, I feel like you're just somebody who guides yourself on your path, and you allow your spirit team to guide you on the right path. Like, you don't need external validation on where to go. Like, you figure it out. With the Queen of Wands reverse, I feel like you have this self-worth, but you do allow other people to kind of deter you. I don't feel like you're great at like shutting out other people's opinions. And I feel like you might be a little misguided at times in allowing people to give you outdated advice and tell you what they think you should be doing when you know what you're meant to be doing And I feel like you follow along with what other people want you to do, not understanding that you're meant to do what you're meant to do. If that makes sense. I feel like you definitely can work on this self-worth a little bit and trusting yourself and trusting your guidance and really tapping into this inspiration. I feel like you might be losing this passion for something, losing faith in your passion. But I feel like you should definitely tap back into this creativity and inspiration, whatever this is, and not give a fuck about what other people have to say about it. I feel like you care too much about what other people say and what other people think about what you're doing. Is kind of the energy I'm getting from this. Well, with the Two of Cups, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who's found like this love within yourself. I feel like you are balancing out your divine feminine, divine masculine energies so you can be this powerhouse. So you can like nurture the things that you love, but also take that intentional action towards where you're meant to go. I feel like you have so much love to give. You're definitely a lover, a hopeless romantic. Like, I feel like you just pour so much into other people. Like your friends, your relationships, your connections, your family, whatever it is, you definitely pour your heart into a lot of people. With the Two of Wands, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who is definitely planning. You're in this planning phase, kind of planning for the future. You're in between your old world, in between your new world. You're not yet where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. And so I feel like you have a lot of things that you aspire to do, a lot of things that you want to try out, a lot of places you want to go, places that you want to move, 555 on the timer. And so I feel like you're definitely in the in-betweens right now, but you're making use of the time that you have. And whether this is you trying new hobbies while you're passing time, or you just finding things to help you cope with being in the in-betweens right now. Because soon enough you will be where you want to be, but you can celebrate how far you've come and acknowledge that you're not where you used to be. So that's a step, the step in the right direction. And with the moon, double confirmation with the moon, how a tarot reader would describe you as someone who literally delves in their shadow. I feel like you do a lot of shadow work, and if you don't, you should. And again, there's a black and white wolf in the back, so it's like that. It's the balance between your divine feminine, divine masculine energies. People just find you very mysterious, but very powerful, because there is the full moon on this card. So it really has to do with the power that you have is what makes you mysterious. Maybe you function out of your dark feminine energy or your dark masculine energy, but I just feel like people are trying to figure you out. People don't know what to think of you. And I feel like it's just because you have so much complexity to you that it takes time for people to really understand the method of the madness, if that makes sense. Bottom of the deck, the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, you're described as someone who definitely focuses on where you are investing your time, energy, and your money. And you invest it into places where you'll get a return on investment. So maybe you're investing it into yourself or into your business, and just not really investing it into meaningless shit. Let's get some clarifying cards. How else would a tarot reader describe pile number 4? Death, King of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands came out in the last group. The bottom, the Star. So, I get a sip of water. How a tarot reader would describe you with death and rebirth on here. I feel like the reason why you trust your intuition to guide you on the right path and you know that you will be shown the way is because you have evolved, you have grown, you have transformed. You've shed the layers of what you are not to transform into your highest potential. You've let go of the dead weight. And so you know that whatever path you go down, it will be transformative for you. And it will be what's best for you. You learn your lessons and you move on. And so I feel like that's why you're so decisive, is because you take the lessons you've learned in the past and you don't repeat them. With the King of Pentacles below the Queen of Wands reverse, I feel like, I'm trying to think of the way to put this. The reason why you allow people to guide your path is maybe because you focus more on the material aspect of things. You are someone who will do a job that you hate just for the money. And so I think that's what this energy is that you don't feel passionate and creative about this because you're just doing it for the money. And maybe that's good for you temporarily if that's what you want to do, to save it up and maybe invest it or something, and then maybe go back into whatever inspires you. But for the long term, this seems a little bit destructive. I feel like you're definitely looking for that stability and security within your life and just focusing on your coin right now. But I also feel like you need to tap into your passions. You're also being described as someone who's definitely loyal, since there is a dog here, and dogs are all about loyalty. But yeah, I just kind of feel like you're more focused on your money in the material aspect of things rather than how it makes you feel. Maybe you feel disempowered in the circumstance that you're in. Maybe the job that you're in doesn't take care of you, doesn't take care of your needs, your inner needs, your soul needs, not the physical, obviously, but 11:11 on the timer. With the Knight of Wands, how a tarot reader would describe you is someone who's definitely dancing to the beat of their own drum. You're very passionate. You're very inspirational. You're a little bit impulsive, a little bit reckless. I feel like sometimes you don't think before you do things. But I feel like this kind of has to do with love. Connections, relationships. It's kind of like you jump into things without really knowing what you're jumping into. And that's kind of the vibe of this. But you definitely dance to the beat of your own drum. Like, you're in your own world, you're in your own timing, and you don't always allow others to control your life and control what you do. With the Queen of Cups, water energy, someone who's in tune with their emotions, emotionally vulnerable. I feel like you're just very tapped into your emotions. You're very intuitive energy. And I just feel like you're very tapped in to your emotional state. You know when something's off. I feel like you trust your heart to guide you on the right path. I feel like you stand in your sensitivity, knowing that it is not an insult to be called sensitive. And ultimately, you're just this pure-hearted energy. And so you know that even though you're in the in-betweens right now, you're going to receive everything that you deserve because you are this pure-hearted energy, because you do have pure intentions. You're not greedy. You're just this very compassionate and empathetic energy. And so continue to stand in those emotions for sure, and don't ever let anyone shut that down. With the Four of Wands, how a tarot reader would describe you, like I said, with the moon above it, it's like you work in silence. What people don't know, they can't ruin. What people don't know, they can't fuck up. And so I feel like you're building your stable foundation behind the scenes, these connections, these relationships, these friendships, everything you're building behind the scenes so nobody can mess it up. So yeah, they're going to think you're mysterious or that you're hiding something, but it's just you value your privacy. and you don't want people to mess up what you are creating for yourself. You definitely have a lot that you are celebrating here. I feel like you have a lot of connections, like attracting your soul tribe, your soul family, conscious connections in your life, and you're just ultimately here to live life experiences. And I feel like you don't just do that in front of everyone publicly. The bottom of the deck, the Star. You're being described as someone who does not give up on their hopes, their aspirations, and their dreams. I feel like you are this guiding light. You are the light at the end of the tunnel. And you give people this faith to keep pushing on, and that we can achieve our dreams no matter where we came from. Let's clarify this out with my homemade deck. How would a tarot reader describe you? Self-aware, strong sense of self, did internal work. I think this came out in the past couple groups. So like I said, you're very self-aware and you have a strong sense of self. You've done the internal work. And so you know who you are. You know who you are and you know how you function. On the top, generous, ride or die, considerate. You're this very generous person. You ride or die for your people. And you're very considerate of others. Like, you don't do reckless things that recklessly affect other people, if that makes sense. Spirit guide, advisor, values your insight. You're seen as the spirit guide energy. You're an advisor. People trust you to give the best advice and they value your insight. On the top, irritable, snappy, and bitchy. Yeah, I feel like you might be a little irritable, snappy, or bitchy, or people are irritable, snappy, and bitchy towards you when you give them the honest advice that they need. Let's see how else you are being described. Introvert, enjoys own company. Reflective, yes, so you might be an introvert. You enjoy your own company and you're very reflective. Like, you reflect on the lessons that you've learned and why you had to go through certain experiences. On the top, intimidation, capable of great achievement, put on a pedestal. Yeah, so people are intimidated by you and they know that you're capable of great achievement and they literally put you up on that pedestal. People's fantasy. People dream of being with you but aren't willing to work for it, out of their league. Yeah, so you are people's fantasies. People fantasize about you. People dream of being with you but aren't willing to really put in the work and put in the effort, and they think that you are out of their league. On the top, that bitch. Unconditional self-love, self-assured. And it's because you are that bitch. You have unconditional self-love and you are self-assured, so you don't need other people to validate, like, who you are. Let's get a couple more cards. We have multifaceted, talented, a gift to the world, clout chaser, material obsession, sellout. High priestess, knowledgeable, seeing the unknown. So I feel like you're multifaceted. You have a lot of talents, a lot of opportunities, and you are literally a gift to this world. And people come in with this clout chaser energy, wanting to basically piggyback off of you. And it's because they have a material obsession and they're a sellout. So they'll do anything for money. This might also be your energy if you resonate with that, like you wanting to do anything for money and having this obsession with the material world. And if that's you, definitely try to work on that. On the top, high priestess, knowledgeable, seeing the unknown. So you're definitely this high priestess energy, very intuitive and knowledgeable. You have a lot of wisdom and you see the unknown. Let's get one more card. Athletic, fit, and healthy. So you are being described as someone who's athletic, fit, and healthy, and you prioritize your health. On the top, pretty eyes, captivating, windows to the soul. So people think you have pretty eyes and they're captivating, and literally they see into your soul when they look into your eyes. So thank you so much for joining me for this reading, and all information you need will be linked down below, and I will see you next time.